This video is brought to you by Grainger Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
Today I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Nathan, and we are checking out one of the last of a dying breed.
She's referring to the vehicle, not me.
Yes, I am. This is the 2026 Honda Pilot Elite. And the reason why it's a dying breed is it doesn't have a Turbo 4 or a hybrid system or anything like that.
No, and it's not an EV either. And there's a lot of vehicles out there that are. And the other thing about this is that this is one of the early entries into this class. If you think about it, the old Honda Pilot, that was a 3-row SUV, and it was basically a very simple setup. And this one is too. One engine, one transmission choice.
Yeah, let's check it out. So this is the updated version, and it is a little bit boxier. We've got a bigger grille. We've got some two-tones here on the bumper, and I think it looks pretty good overall.
It's aggressive, and at the same time, it's not overly done. Now, I think it looks better when you have the off-road trim. This is the Elite, so it's a little bit more city savvy, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wish that these side vents were a little bit more functional, but it looks like there's some slight holes there. Maybe that's for aero.
It makes it look like it's more aggressive than it really is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
sure.
I want to be mean, I'm angry.
Yeah.
So speaking of angry, let's talk about that powertrain, because it is something that's a little bit, it's beefy, and once again, it is the last of a dying breed, which I think is pretty cool. And if I could find the trunk release, that would be really awesome.
Oh, it's like tucked on the side.
On the side here.
Yeah.
Ah, got it.
There she is.
They
So
deliberately
this
hit
is
it.
a 3.5 liter V6, made it up to just that beautiful 10-speed automatic for a very smooth transition. Got about 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, but there ain't much that I would complain about with this.
No, it's actually a powertrain that's been around for a little while. They've done some updates with it. But the most important thing here is that, guys, there's no orange tubes leading to a hybrid system. There are no turbochargers on there, so it's not a 4-cylinder engine or anything like that, which is kind of unique. There's only a couple vehicles out there in this class that still have this powertrain. Oh, and another thing, I'm forcing Jen to work out because this hood is friggin' heavy.
No struts.
No struts.
No
It is
struts
like a
on this.
steel hood.
And for a price point that we'll get into at the end of this, I would have kind of expected some struts.
Agree with you 100%.
All
right.
well, let's check out the front, shall we?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
No matter if you're buying brand new or a vehicle that's a couple years old, you should check out GraingerWarranty.com, because it's a factory-backed extended warranty, which allows you to have that coverage for the long haul. Check them out because you can save some money, around $1,000 compared to other extended warranties. And you can be sure that your vehicle, your pickup truck, is fixed with OEM quality parts by certified technicians at dealerships or other certified facilities across the country.
So the interior is pretty nice, and this comes along with that Elite option. On the leather seats, we've got this white piping and this like micro suede. Would you call this micro suede, Nathan?
Yeah, it's a suede material. When you look at the sticker on it, it doesn't really talk about what this is, but it certainly does feel nice to the touch. I would say that there's basically 3 different components that are on this seat. If you look at the leather inserts, this suede-like material, and then of course the hard plastics on the side. But all together, it's still a pretty comfortable seat, even for my large booty.
We do have heated and ventilated seats, which is nice. 10 power-way driver seat. It's pretty nice. What I do like is the wood trim. So it's from the fakest fine wood trees, right?
Yeah, those plastic trees are giving to us.
But it's got like a crackly kind of
cool.
look
I kind
to
of like
it.
this, and we both agree that thank God this isn't like a carbon fiber look,
Or all piano black.
Or all piano black.
Goodness gracious.
But then it's next to something that we both agree not big fans of, the push button transmission.
It's an atrocity, if I may.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The thing is that when we talk to people about why did you put the push button transmission in there, many say, oh, it's to save room, it's to save space. Honestly, look at this thing. Do you think you're saving a lot of room with this?
No.
I don't think so. Not with this, just a shifter or a column or something. Even a rotary, we agree, would be a little bit better. When you're doing like a 4-point turn, back and forth and back and forth and back and blah, 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 it's a pain. But other than that, the rest of this interior layout, real buttons that you can use, which I'm very grateful for, and the heating air conditioning system, intuitive and simple to use.
One of my favorite things, believe it or not, is the second row seats and how versatile they are to move. Number one, just getting in themselves. A lot of headroom, lot of leg room, 5'7" for reference, so I've left my seat where it's at. So not the longest of legs, but still very comfortable for just an adult back here. And we have heated outboard seats in the back and our own temperature controls, which is really, really nice.
And I'm 6'1", and I'm sitting behind myself without a problem as well. And I have plenty of headroom. This is great. I like the USB-Cs. I'm glad that they have that there.
And a household outlet, if I can.
There
There
it
it
goes.
is. There
There
she
it
is.
is.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, and the controls and all that, very simple to use. And the vents, they're here. I prefer them up here. It's a personal thing, but all in all, once again, very good layout. Pockets back here. And also, of course, we can't forget, oh wait, where's the center armrest? There it is.
This is where the versatility really starts, because we've got this, but then this also can be adjusted to completely come out of here if you wanted.
I have no idea how to do it, but there you go. Look at that.
So this will come out completely, so you can have a couple captain's chairs and then even a walkway to go back into the third row.
Which is great access for little ones. And this is one of the important parts. Amongst all the people at TFL, the two of us create an interesting bridge, because you have a young one.
Young baby.
And I have older babies. I have teens and a young adult. So a vehicle like this works for both of us because of that third row.
Exactly, yeah. So let's show how easy it is to get into that third row. So there's a button back here, which is an electric release. But look at that. It's quick. It's not just a push button and then you have to wait for the whole motor to move, which takes like thousands of years. Yeah. This is a very quick release, easy adjustment, and then to get in, that's nice. It doesn't feel like it's too cramped to get in here.
I agree. And the only reason I'm not going back there right now is because I've got some water that I'm standing in right now on my feet.
We don't want that.
And we really don't want that. But I've been back here before and I do fit. And here's the thing, which I love. You have cup holders over here, you have USB-C right over there,
yep.
And you have the vents right here.
Vents are huge.
That's huge. And so all in all, the layout that they have in here is, I would say, near the top in the class. It
Agreed.
Really is good.
And to even go off of that, you can recline these seats as well, which is huge. I think to be able to recline the third row gives you a lot more room. And then I just wanted to show how much room you get back here. That's huge. There's quite a bit of leg room I have. Still tons of headroom. This is
technically you can hold 3 people back there.
You could. There are 3 seats. You would have to be a very tiny individual.
I think you could cram Tommy and maybe some small kids next to him, and then I think you'd be fine. Oof. But the bottom line is that you have room for 3, 6, 7 passengers. So technically speaking, this is an 8-passenger vehicle with this setup. Kind of rare in the market.
I think it's incredible. The seats alone is what, as a family person, I would be very happy to see.
Exactamundo. And that kind of forgives some of its little issues. And we already covered one, which is the transmission shifter.
Yeah, not the best.
Let's look at the trunk. By the way, in the back, just for styling, Honda went the same direction with everybody else where they did the separate letters going across. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. I would almost rather it say Honda than Pilot. I don't know. This is kind of like, yes, I'm a parent and I'm sorry that I'm driving slow or something along those lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose.
I just, Honda's a little bit more punchy than... Okay, so let's have a look-see here. First of all, I'm going to drop one of these seats, which I believe is just this, and it makes the headrest go down. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you have this.
Pretty big storage down here, and then I like what I see here, spare tire.
Yes.
That's pretty great.
I believe that lives right underneath here, and it would most likely be a donut.
Yeah, it's underneath here. Yeah, it is. It's a compact.
Yeah, and it looks like there's, so other tools and whatnot. Hey, by the way, guys, would you indulge me? The last time I showed off one of these, I made a mistake, which is here. Now, it does have these little dual exhaust ports. However, what I missed, and I'm going to try to show you, is that look at this. This is where the exhaust pipe is actually shooting out, down here, yet they have this port over here, and it's not even open. Look at that. It's a great place to store things, though.
What would you put in there, like Easter eggs?
Phone. My phone would totally fit right in there. So yeah, it was my fault. Mea culpa. It looked like it was real. I don't understand why they don't just.
You know, I know a lot of companies are doing this now, and I think one of the reasons is they like for the emissions essentially to go down instead of straight out. Not that other cars aren't going to just still come straight out of the back, but I guess it is a little bit better with it going straight down, but that is...
and who am I to argue with the brain trust over at Honda whether or not this is a working thing? But I'll tell you what, how about we give this a go around and drive it a little bit?
Yeah.
I've driven these before, but I want to see what you think about it.
Yeah, let's get it on the road. This is a very comfortable ride.
It's easy to get in and out
It
of,
is easy to, this, I don't like this though.
Yep.
Don't like that at all. But it does have, you know, some other things that make up for those shortcomings, like buttons and dials. And I think Honda has made some of the best, listen to that click. Can you hear that? Oh, it's delightful.
I love it.
Things like that are fantastic to me.
Here's another thing that, and we've mentioned it before, years and years ago. Honda brought back the volume control button. Thank you. Because other people don't do that. No. Other competitors are still doing slides and weird things.
Drives me nuts.
This is good.
And it's easy for me to reach. Sometimes they're like all the way over here, just right there, which is really nice.
I think the bottom line for me always has been with functional buttons is that you're taking your eyes off the road less, and including the volume control, when you're just trying to dial in things in terms of music and whatnot.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. But this does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and these 12.3-inch screens are now standard across the board.
That's right. And keep in mind, there are competitors out there that no longer carry Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Yeah,
General Motors.
Yeah, big ones too.
Yeah,
the big boys.
And so it's huge though, right? In that respect, this is still here and it works really well. I just recently had its little brother, and it just hooked up no problem. Easy enough to work. Good sound system altogether. Sweet setup.
Yeah, and I also think Honda's had a really nice display as far as the colors and everything that go into this, more so in the cluster. So I've got a map on the right side of my cluster here, a fully digital 10-inch cluster. And on top of that, I have a head-up display, which is notoriously very difficult to film, but albeit very nice to have.
It is. You know, the one thing I wish they had on that instrument cluster, you know how Hyundai products, where you turn the turn signal on and you have the camera light up and it shows. I love that. And I wish Honda would adopt that.
I know.
And here's the irony. Honda was early with that way back with the Honda Fit. They actually had a little tiny camera and it was doing that. And they're not using it.
I can't believe more and more companies are not integrating that into all of their models.
In time, I think they will. And other things catch on, like for instance, bird's eye view when you're parking, almost everybody incorporates it.
The best.
Right? Well, that was initially Nissan who was one of the first with that, with Infiniti. And now almost everybody does it. So maybe that will be incorporated as well.
I sure hope so.
So what do you think of the ride? Now this one does have the larger wheels on it, so it's larger wheels, thinner tires.
Not my favorite combination. I'm a small wheel, big tire type of gal.
Right there with you.
But for the most part, it's pretty quiet. I would say it's kind of it's good across the board. I wouldn't say there's anything that it's incredible at, but I think it's just good.
Acceleration is decent, I noticed. And the thing is that we're in the Rockies, so it's not fast. It's quick.
0 to 60 is about 7 seconds in this.
Yeah, that's near sea level.
And without a turbo, you're going to get quite a bit of lag. And it is pretty loud, but you're not getting that CVT drone, which is really nice.
And it sounds pretty good, I think. It's not exactly what I would call a Ferrari, but it sounds. I think it sounds okay, especially compared to some the CVT mixed in with a 4-cylinder turbo. Ugh.
Agreed.
Yeah. There's no bueno. Yeah. And the other thing, just to kind of clear this up in terms of what this vehicle is really built for. It's built to move your family from point A to point B. And you don't want a minivan to do it, you do this.
Couldn't agree anymore. I mean, just with the second and third row alone, this very, very family-friendly vehicle.
Yep. And with the somewhat off-roady version of this, which has different settings and a more aggressive undercarriage with more aggressive suspension, I like that one quite a bit. And it's a funny thing because in terms of the ride quality, I wouldn't say it's that much different than this. However, because of all that extra heft of all the suspension components and the beefier tires, it may be a hair slower.
Okay, I could give you that, you know, but we're not talking about a whole lot of pep to begin with.
No,
so,
we're really not.
But as far as fuel economy, this is pretty decent sitting at combined 21.
Yeah,
21. That's
now,
not bad.
If you look at some of the hybrids out there, sure, that they're much higher, but those hybrids are also coming in at a relatively steep price, but that's where this thing kind of sours a little bit because it ain't cheap.
No, we're not getting a hybrid system, but you're paying like it is a hybrid system.
Exactly. And it's one of the things that kind of drives me a little crazy about this.
Yeah, so with this as an elite version, Nathan, we're knocking on the door of about $55,000 for this Honda Pilot.
I quickly did some research, and the vehicles it competes against, and we're talking Hyundai, Kia mixed in, and of course Nissan, and of course Toyota. If you're looking at roughly higher end versions, all their vehicles across the board that compete with this 3-row SUVs, they are about the same price.
Right.
So this doesn't do anything price-wise that really shows it as being a big factor. It is competitive, but it's not very competitive.
No, and some of its rivals are a little nicer on the inside.
Yes.
So when it comes to price points, you are getting possibly a better option with some of its rivals. I think overall this is a great car. I just don't think the price reflects what you're getting.
I think that Honda fans will love this because you're getting Honda quality with it. You're getting that V6. So V6 fans will be happy with that. A lot of people don't like turbos, CVTs, and hybrids. That's where I think this car might shine a little bit. It's just the good old-fashioned feeling of it. And also, frankly speaking, it's just really well screwed together. At least it feels that way to me.
Yeah, I think so too. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Nathan, so happy to finally do a video with you.
Know, it's been forever, right? I've been hearing it. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here. I'm going to be here in a little while. There'll be a few more videos with me, and hopefully the two of us will do a few more together as well.
I'd love that. Bye.